Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Popeye Sunday night. Now, I'm not doing a rant, but wow, let me tell you, you probably, if you've been listening to us for any amount of time, you've probably heard me say that motorcyclists are the last free spirits in America, and I still do believe that as we look out there and see what's going on. But no, let me say this. And I'm going to say this because of what I saw in the news just before I came into the studio. And it was a CBS report on driverless trucks already on the highways, already on the highways. And the general public doesn't know about this. They don't know how far the advancements in driverless trucks have come along. And neither do truck drivers. And let me say this, we among our ranks in the biking community, motorcycle community, many of them are truckers. Many of them, this is their livelihood. And to now see that driverless trucks are on the horizon, and they're talking about as soon as next year. As soon as next year. That this is going to be a way of the future. Now, let me say this. The first time one of those driverless rigs kills somebody, that will be a stumbling block for them, but they will not stop because there's a lot of money to be made in this. But let me say this, there are also a lot of jobs to be lost. Matter of fact is a lot of jobs for over 300,000 people. 300,000 people. Now you say, well, that's just technology. Everybody's going to have to get used to it. Everybody's going to have to go do something else. Imagine that on top of everything else that's being promised by the Democrats, especially with the new Green Deal. I'm just saying, everybody. I mean, I can't wait to see this widespread in the media and also through social media. What do people think about this? And it's like I said, the general public doesn't even know the testing is going on our highways right now as we speak. As we speak. It's an incredible thing. It's a sad thing. Because as you know, as we've seen with tollways and everything else, that people have lost their jobs to these machines. And, at what point are we going to push back against the machines? How long are we going to wait? And not only the machines of political parties. And I was going to come on here tonight, and the first thing I was going to talk about was the post office, and also talk about Joe Biden and his coziness with credit card companies in Delaware. Those are also incredible things that they're gonna put your hands in the or you put your vote in the hands of the Postal Service. I mean, how many stories have we heard about postal workers that have dumped the mail on the side of the road, down storm gutters, into dumpsters? I mean, just think about it, everybody. I mean, just think about it. When you go into your local post office, is anyone, and I mean anyone, have you experienced standing in the line and there's never enough tellers to do the job? And you see all these other empty teller spaces. and there's people lined up. I mean, come on. I mean, how many of you are in favor of bailing out the Postal Service? Out again to the tune of $25 billion. Raise your hands. Raise your hands. That's what I thought. Poor performances by the U.S. Postal Service is the very reason the UPS, FedEx, and a host of other companies exist. So now Pelosi comes along, and they want to put their faith in the post office, faith that they can deliver a fair, impartial vote in the upcoming presidential election. I mean, please understand, post office employees have skin in the game. They have skin in the game. You think they're going to be honest? I mean, do you think there's a conflict of interest there? I'm just saying. Regardless of what you might find out there on the internet, as a postal worker, you must follow the federal rules and you receive federal benefits. However, everybody, the U.S. Bureau of Labor and Statistics doesn't consider postal workers federal employees. And to that, we say bullshit. Bullshit. The U.S. Constitution created the post office. So Congress has direct control over the rules and regulations the post office must follow concerning the operations and personnel. But, however, the Postal Service does not receive tax dollars. All of its revenues is supposedly coming from the sale of stamps and other mail services. And to that, we say bullshit. How many times have they been bailed out? How many times have they been bailed out? Understand, everybody, the USPS is not required to make a profit. They're not required to make a profit. The federal government is mandated to keep it going. No matter how much it loses, no matter how much, they don't give a shit. They don't give a shit what we think. For their lack of services, for their lack of credibility. I mean, it's a gravy train. It's a gravy train for the ethnic group of the day. And what I'm saying there, I'm saying that from personal experience. So now what do we want to do? We want to put the most important election in our lifetime in the hands of the U.S. Postal Service. I mean, we say to you, your vote is important. Don't put it in the hands of someone else. Vote in person and make sure your vote counts. Make sure it counts, everybody. Don't put it in the hands of the damn post office. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, man. God dang, driverless trucks, the post office in control of our voting. What the hell next? I'll tell you what next. I'll tell you what next. It's Joe Biden. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, you look at Joe Biden's 47 years in D.C., and man, it's been pretty lucrative for him and his family, especially Hunter Biden. In 1972, Joe entered the Senate at 29 years old at the salary of $42K a year. And, there's a pattern to the career path of these politicians and bureaucrats. And you know what? It's disturbing as hell. I mean, take Joe Biden's years as a VP. His pay was, according to what you can find out there, the VP makes $243,000 a year, $500,000 a year. Yeah, $243,000. Let's put it that way. And that grew big time. Joe Biden's income soared from less than $400,000 a year while he was vice president. How do you do that? To more than $15,000 a year into 15 million a year in the 2 years after leaving the Obama White House. I mean, that's quite a spike in wealth due to what they say is sales. Now, Joe Biden, he never created a product in his life. He's never run a business, never done any of that kind of shit. I mean, so these sales have come from speeches and books and BS like that. Now, who's going to pay that kind of money to read a book that Joe Biden's written or even go to a speech that he's given? I mean, what's he, a half a minute speech? I mean, come on. But there is lobbying for profit. I mean, lunch with the Chinese government, selling out America, or keeping blacks on the domestic plantations, Democrat plantations, yeah. I mean, for years we've been screaming about politicians enriching themselves when they are supposed to be working for the American people. Average Joe Biden is the perfect example of one of these politicians that enrich themselves at the expense of the American people. As a Democrat senator from Delaware, he cozied up to the credit card executives while championing their cause in Congress, making it tougher for average Americans to file for bankruptcy. Oh, yeah, Joe was working hard for them, not for us, for them. And of course, Hunter Biden got in on the action, lobbying for these financial institutions, these credit card companies. And Hunter Biden started a job at MBNA in November of 1996 after Joe Biden won re-election, in part because he wanted to be close to home. So, go figure, everybody. I mean, these politicians should not be allowed to lobby after they've held elected office, and neither should their cabinet members. We've got a big thing going on there in Washington, D.C. It's the very reason that it's the richest community in this country. It's time we make a change. It's time we speak out. It's time we do something else. It's time to clean out the deep state. All of it. And it's time for term limits, because that will stop a lot of this. The longer they stay there, the more corrupt they get. Now, are they angels on both sides? No. But you have to look out there across the land right now and realize who the most corrupt are among them. And Joe Biden is one of them. Kamala Harris is another one. Let me tell you, all these people there in Washington, D.C., they're all if they've got multiple homes after being there for decades on a politician's salary, living in one of the most expensive areas of the country, something is wrong. Something is bad wrong. And if they're making $15 million after they leave office, something is bad wrong. There's nothing any of them have to say that warrants these book deals that they're getting. And in my opinion, that's just cover up for money they've stolen from the taxpayers, whether through lobbying or just through outright theft. The only thing they're working to do is benefit themselves and their friends. And like we saw with Solyndra, which we mentioned in the last broadcast, the only people that made out during that during that awful period of time where solar panels were going to be the answer, and we were going to be building tons of solar panels and stuff like that. And then the Chinese came in and undercut the whole mess. But that didn't stop them from funneling government money into Solyndra to their friends of Obama, friends of Biden, and friends of whoever else. The only people that made out on that was the people that received the money and then pissed it away or outright stole it. Outright stole it. Not a single person paid a price for that mess. Just like we're seeing with the FBI, the only way we're going to get any results and have the deep state paid is to reelect Donald Trump. I'm sorry about that if you don't like him. I'm sorry about that if you think he's mean and crude and rude. You know what? We're not electing an angel. But we would like somebody that's not stealing from us, working every minute, every angle to steal from us, the taxpayers. And this is almost a rant, I guess, heck, man. I was so upset when I saw the driverless truck thing. I mean, were you any of you guys on the chat line? Were you privy to any of that was going on? I mean, I'd heard it, but it seemed like it was like years and years out. Maybe not in my lifetime, but now here it is on our doorstep. And right now, I'd like to say hi to Pastor Aaron, Ghost Eagle, Brain Damage. You guys ever heard of that mess? Looks like my chat line has stopped. But I'm just saying, everybody. I'm just saying, man, what a horrible thing to when you realize that people are actually working to put people out of work. Now, will the truck drivers rise up against these machines? Will they allow their jobs to just be trampled on and pissed away? I just wonder if the president has heard of this and what this will do to truck drivers, who many of them are his supporters. And just think about this. I mean, they're planning on putting these things on the road in 2021. Wow. So, this is something we're going to have to battle, everybody. And you know what? It's like I said, we're going to have to come together. And whether it's driverless trucks, I mean, look at the stupid things that are going on out there. Would you get in an airplane with no pilot? Would you trust a 40,000-pound truck going down the road with a load? And sometimes heavier than that, overloaded? Would you trust that truck riding next to you in the rain, on the ice, wherever? And they say they haven't conquered ice yet with them. And they're touting all the good things about this, the fuel savings, everything else. Because the truck would be better, the computer would be better at staying in its lane. It may stay in its lane right till it runs over somebody. What if there's a cop out there waving a flashlight at it? You going to know to stop? I'm just saying, everybody. And there is no oversight. There's not much oversight to these things. They're just doing what they want to do. And we might be demanding from the state that they do some checking up on this. I'm just saying, everybody. Just saying. But that's my 20 minutes today on Sunday evening. Yeah, I just thought I'd come on and talk to you guys and give a pitch for our next radio podcast. It would be number 414. Yeah. And that night we'll be bringing on one of our club members, one of the Sons of Liberty Riders MC club members. And just to show you more than we're more than just pretty faces in our biking community. We have a member the other night at our bike night. He was discussing his 3 children, and but all of them are doing the virtual classrooms, not because they want to, because they're being forced to. And let me say this to everybody. Let me say this. Virtual classrooms are not working. They're not working. None of the school systems are ready for this. None of them are good at it. And they have all kinds of hell with the students trying to log on. Every district is different. Everything is in chaos by design. Teachers that are refusing to go to work, guess what? They should get no pay. There are people out there across this country, and especially here in Texas, that are working every day, working to put money in their pockets, take care of their families, and take care of Texas. And also on the next podcast, we'll be talking about New York dying. That's right. There are some guys out there been New York City residents for decades on end, and they're saying that city is not going to come back. Is not going to come back. So are you going to follow New York off the cliff? There are other cities that will. San Francisco, Detroit, Chicago, maybe Austin, Texas, Portland, Minnesota. Hey, just saying, everybody. Just saying. But let's keep our eye peeled and keep our eyes peeled on for these driverless trucks. If you see one, contact us. Contact us. And I'll be posting over the next couple of days what the name of that company is. Oh, there's more than one. Oh, yeah, Amazon's really interested in it. Amazon's really interested in putting people out of work. So you're going to keep buying from Amazon? You're going to keep watching football, even though the NBA, maybe they're just insulting the hell out of you. Maybe they're trying to get rid of your job. Maybe you just don't like what it is they're doing. Maybe you're a patriot. And maybe it's time there. Oh, wait a minute. We did have a guy that I'll post that video at texasbikerradio.org of the guy that talked to his city council. And he told them he's ready to stand up. Even if he has to fight American citizens, he's ready to fight for his right to work, his right to open his business, his right for his freedoms. And with that, everybody, have a good evening, the rest of your weekend. We'll see you Tuesday night. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye. Ride safe.